Hello guys, this is your Uncle Big Fish, in the flesh. Yes, this is me. So on this video, we will actually be talking to why I stopped playing Black Desert Mobile, and the reasons why I'm making this video is actually because I got like over 400 comments of people asking, and I got like 60, 80 like Discord messages asking me why I left the game. And I can't really answer all of you because it's gonna take a while. So I figure I'll just make a video about it and let you guys know why that is the case. Okay? For those of you that don't like criticism, or those of you that are insecure about yourselves and unable to take no for an answer, or you're not really looking for the kind of response, then you don't need to watch this video. So if you don't like it, if you don't like what I'm gonna say, or you don't like listening to other people's opinions, you can just shut down this video now and forget about all this. Because honestly, I don't want to bother with the toxic people from Black Desert. I know most of you are really nice people, but those of you that are toxic, if you want to bother someone, just do that with someone else. Because I'm really not in the mood to handle any of this bullshit. Alright? So with that being said, let's just jump on the video and let me just talk a little bit regarding all this. Black Desert Mobile, or BDM for short, is for a very long time reigned uncontested as the single best mobile MMO game in the market. Even to this day, I still think that Black Desert Mobile still remained as the single best MMORPG game for the mobile platform. Then, what happened? Games dying after a long period of time happens to pretty much every single game. No matter how popular the game was or how good the game was, at some point, people will eventually stop giving a shit about it. But that isn't exactly the same context here, because Black Desert Mobile, even to this day, remains still superior in terms of graphics, complexity, mechanics, and overall fluidity. Compared to other modern games of the same genre, Black Desert Mobile is still the best there is. So, what happened to this game? From just the player count checks you can see online, the game had lost nearly 94% of its player base. Given all the specs of the game I've explained prior, this really is unnatural. So let's talk about what happened. But first, who exactly am I? And how and what does this game mean to me? Well, I am Uncle Big Fish. I am a Black Desert Mobile content creator, and I am also the reigning champion of the first and only official arena dueling tournament of this game, called the Black Desert Karkia Championship.
After 2 minutes, I think.
This is really surprising me because 10 seconds has passed and still Sharpside is losing at this point. I think Empress is definitely assured already that he knows how to handle against
Sharpside
another Buccaneer.
Lots of HP
Sharpside
right
must
now.
do something
really
at this
has to
point
pull himself
and
together.
Not lose, because after this he will not, or he might not have any other chance for another Karkia. Sharpside is at less than 20%. Empress is still good.
Okay, we have
Gets
our winner
that
for our
last
Karkia
hit.
Championship arena, which is Empress.
Aside from that, I was a long-time passionate player of this game. My hour time count of this game could even be said to be endless. My account probably goes offline only during maintenance hours, and never again. That was how invested I am with this game. To you non-grind heavy MMO players, this might sound kind of excessive. However, this is of course nothing special, as I am sure the majority of the game's player base are just as masochistic as I am. Shout out to my Asia server brethrens. The game was fun. The game truly became the one game I could be proud of excelling at, as the game truly lets those with skill to shine regardless of CP or combat power. Yes, For those of you who played MMO games before, those with CP are considered gods amongst men. But in this game, that wasn't always the case. After all, me and a very select few players are what was categorized once as whale hunters. We were mostly free-to-play players that specialize in killing whales or spenders. This trend, however, wasn't always the case for everyone. But we proved that it was possible. And with us at the front lines, we gave birth to hope. A simple dream that a puny, weak, pathetic free-to-play in an MMORPG game could actually beat the odds and beat those sultans who spends $5,000 to $100,000 a month. But we're getting a bit off topic here. But it's an important note to have so that you understand what we'll discuss in a bit. So let's get back to the first question. From all I've said, how could I and many others quit this game? Well, let's break it down. Number 1, the most argued thing ever in this game and whatever people will always talk about is the desync issues. The game has an extremely fast-paced combat for an MMO game. It's not an exaggeration to say that this game had the MMO combat pace of an FPS game, as milliseconds worth of timing mistakes could be the difference between winning or losing. Knowing this, it's a miracle that the game mechanics hadn't collapsed due to desync issues for so long. Because the fact is, the game always ran smooth for years. Until, of course, 2.5 years after. From this point on, the game suddenly got extremely desync issues, and it was getting apparent that the game we knew then wasn't the same game we were playing now. Number 2, the game started having extremely dumb class balances, letting some classes pretty much dumpster all kinds of limitations. It got so bad that there were even times when a single class could literally one-shot almost every other class in the game in spite of being at a CP disadvantage. I'm talking about you, Berserker. And the crazy doesn't even stop there. They reworked classes to having extremely dumb shit mechanics like permanent iframes or permanent health regen. I honestly have no idea what the developers were thinking. It's honestly quite hilarious seeing all this shit transpired, but we pressed on. With all that in mind, every patch were pretty much recycled content from God knows when, with little to no rewards that merit interest. This made the game, for me at the very least, boring. Now, let's recoup all the issues I've mentioned at hand here. The game suddenly had desync issues that it previously did not have, making the game competitively impossible to play. The game also has terrible class balancing that was so dumb, it gave birth to delusional people and ruined competitive play. The contents that followed were repetitive, making the game boring. All this could be said to be bad enough, but there's actually one more thing that nobody offline or online or any other content creator has ever mentioned. The game completely lets go of its fundamentals. Its core fundamentals, in fact, being hope. To understand what I mean, we'll have to go back 3 years. Starting from 3 years ago, the game started adding forward guard breaks to literally every single class, on multiple different skills. For those that don't know what forward guard break is a mechanic present on very little skills that make the user completely immune to damage if hit from the front. The sides and the back is completely naked, making forward guard an extremely high risk, high reward mechanic that adds some complexity into the game. Now, forward guard break is a mechanic that pretty much does what it says. It's a mechanic on some skills that bypass forward guard by targeting the enemy's back, which are not protected by forward guard. In the past, well, this was extremely scarce. But it was present on some skills of most classes. However, after 3 years ago, every class can now break forward guard with multiple skills, making the use of forward guard pretty much useless. This forward guard mechanic is built in a way that it needs to be executed at the perfect time with the perfect positioning to actually be useful. And this was the primary tool of a whale hunter. And this was the tool that a whale hunter uses to beat whales.
Enjoy.
In a 1v1 combat, with the pretext that if we get the timing wrong by just a millisecond, we're fucked, as whales could pretty much one-shot us from full to zero. This to me is one of the biggest mistakes the developers did, as it did not only make a mechanic that was so useful and versatile completely irrelevant. And to make it worse, this was the death of the hope. The dream that a weak, puny-ass free-to-play could stood up to a whale. But to you viewers, this might sound like nothing. But to the real OG players from back then, well, this was a huge blow. Their hopes is what the developers had taken away from them. With these changes, whale hunting pretty much goes down the waterhole. The game became monotonous, and there was really no excitement in achieving anything in the game. This, alongside the horrible class balancing, desync issues, and honestly the running turbo updates, is enough to shun most players away. But I think, if there truly is a nail in the coffin for this game, is the fact that the developers are so completely ignorant, unwilling to listen to the pleas of their player base, unwilling to stay true to the fundamentals it was loved so much for in the first place, and honestly, blatantly lying to the player base during multiple live streams. To me, this is what killed the game, and that is why I decided to quit the game altogether. The game stopped being competitive, the game stopped being fun, for me. As I'm sure it is also so too for many of my fallen brethren, I will never forget the fun I had playing this game during its best days. And I'll always remember the moments that gave birth to so much friendships that I still have until today. I'm still friends with a lot of my Black Desert mobile friends, even until now, like Cookie Sparta, like Suncrash. So many of you are actually still really good friends, even till today, and I'll always cherish that. But that's pretty much the reason to why I quit. Hey, don't blame me, alright? I got a really good exit. I've always loved playing garbage classes. I've lived the Black Desert content creation true until my last day of the game. I started playing garbage classes and figuring out ways to make it work against the meta, proving that if you're good enough, you can beat the odds, even with a terrible class. And I ended my Black Desert Mobile days winning the biggest Black Desert Mobile tournament with one of the garbage classes that I love so much, my Paladin. Black Desert was fun. And fuck you, Ryoko. You fucking bitch.